revoke that Insurrection Act, you still plan to send troops?
Well, we're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart like it was under Biden.
What is the bar for sending Marines to
The bar is
cities?
what I think it is. I mean, if we see danger to our country and to our citizens, we'll be very, very strong in terms of law and order. It's about law and order.
The patterns. Since this world is being ruled by devils, we need to understand that the core spirit behind the government of Satan is number one, fear. Fear is number one in Satan's kingdom. Without fear, he can never be able to rule the nations. So the only way for Satan to control them is through fear, which then brings me to number one, crisis. This crisis, which is declared, can be an act of terror, immigration crisis, or even disease or natural disaster. This causes fear. A crisis declared causes fear and prompts many to become afraid. Number two, nothing is offered you without a price. Due to fear that was caused by the crisis, many will be prompted to seek to be protected so that they may not be afraid. But remember, nothing is free, including security. And the cost for security and protection and safety is freedom. Thus, point number two, liberties are reduced, quote unquote, for your safety. Number three, mass arrests or detentions follow. Number four, public desensitization leads to normalization. And number five, the remnant who resist are labeled enemies of order. The thing is, friends, is that America's already got so much going of its own problems to deal with that it doesn't make any sense for you guys to go and deal with someone else's problem. It doesn't make any sense that Israel is dragging America into this war. It doesn't make any sense. I personally believe that Netanyahu needs to be held accountable. I personally think that if Israel is going to launch an attack upon Iran, they should be able to have the power to be able to withstand the firepower coming back. You can't go and initiate an attack and then claim self-defense. It doesn't make any sense. But America being dragged into this war, meanwhile America already has problems of its own to deal with, there's a lot of things that have been raised. This conflict has raised so much concerns, and that main concern that I have is sleeper cells in America. Sleeper cells could be summoned at any moment. We don't know how things are going to play out, but the fact that there are sleeper cells in America, this raises the concern for domestic terrorism. Meanwhile, America has its own present domestic problems of its own. If you were to add domestic terrorism into the mix of that, then you've got something completely different. Now you're going to have the potential of, okay, well, now we could have potential domestic terrorists here. We need to do something about that. And so what are the chances that a new system of governance will be introduced to the nation? But the problem is that this new system of governance, it's going to have much more tighter security. But in order for you to have that tighter security, you're going to have to lose some of your rights and some of your freedoms and your privacies. So now anyone who's not going to go along with that, well, now they potentially could be labeled as quote unquote domestic terrorists. Now this right here is what I'm very concerned about. If citizens could potentially now be labeled as domestic terrorists, this is where the question now rises. What kind of America are you living in? What kind of a country are you living in? If the potential exists for the citizens now to be labeled as possible domestic terrorists, and the only reason is because sleeper cells in America have found a way to hide themselves and to mask themselves so that you would have no idea who's who. And remember, a terrorist does not have a face. It could be anyone. Just like how a serial killer does not have a particular face or a particular gender. It could be anyone. This entire talk of sleeper cell, consider it as a seed has now been planted within the American people. Make note that the seed has been planted. If the seed has been planted for the people of America, of potential sleeper cells, then what that could also indicate is that now people should be anticipating that something like that is possible. And so, what are the chances, I ask again, what are the chances that there could be a false flag event that could happen? And it could happen where it's a terror event that happened within the nation. What do you think that's going to cause? It's going to cause concern for a much more tighter security. And what are the chances that we may see one happen in one area and another one happen in another area? You could have, maybe it could be simultaneous, but the concern will be raised for American safety. Now, domestic terrorism is a national security crisis. This right there could easily invoke the Insurrection Act. This is something that is very possible. I'm just saying that we need to just think about it. I believe, friends, that where we are right now, according to the Bible, we are in perilous times. And it's not even an over-exaggeration. We are living in biblical times. These are biblical days of prophetic significance. I want you to think about this. There are problems arising domestically, and there are problems arising internationally. The problems which have risen domestically in America have caused huge concern to the point where the subject of the possible invoking of the Insurrection Act was brought about, and it was talked about, and Trump did make it clear that he may invoke it if he needs to. So he said it's all about law and order, and he said that he's gonna put troops everywhere if he needs to, and it will get done. So Trump is different from other presidents. He is militaristic. He is militaristic, and he is ready to use the power of the US Army. So that's number one. Number two, the problems which have risen internationally have also sparked great concern within America. So here's the thing. Internationally, when we go over there, we see Iran, Israel, and America. So these three parties have now been intertwined. Iran has sleeper cells in America. They've been planted. They are a part of America. I believe that these sleeper cells have 9-to-5 jobs. I believe that these sleeper cells, they have positions. Some of them might have positions in government. Some of these sleeper cells, they also have their citizenship, their permanent residence. They have legal status in America, and they are waiting for the command. Consider these sleeper cells as a never-ending pest, that it will be hard to get rid of them. They will operate almost like a never-ending plague of locusts. The east wind brings the locust. So the question is, what should you be doing right now? Well, my brothers and sisters, one thing that I would advise is be very careful about going to places that are heavily full of tourism, tourist attractions. I would be careful about spending a lot of time in malls. I wouldn't be going to big, large concerts, large crowds of concerts, and going to places where there's massive gathering. I would not personally be going to stadiums. I would highly advise that you don't go to stadiums, the big places of gatherings. Be very careful, just because many things have happened before in which many lives were lost, and it's usually when they're all gathered together. So be careful about where you are going. Be careful about what you're doing. Be careful of, I would even advise, one of the biggest advices that I give to people is, please do yourselves a favor. I would not be living in the heart of a city. I would not be living downtown. Do not live at city centers. Get out from city centers. Go and live outside of city centers. Whenever trouble comes, it's always going to be within the city centers, wherever there's heavily populated areas. This is where the biggest impact comes first, is where the majority of people are. But if you are outside of the city, then you have an advantage. You can look from outside, looking in, you will see the problems that's going on, and you will know exactly what to do. You've got way more options. Either I run to the mountains, run to the hills, go hide here, go hide there. Maybe I have a bug out here. Maybe I have an underground place. Like if you are outside of the city, you have an advantage. But for those who are inside the city, even movies in Hollywood show to you that whenever there's a crisis in the city, everybody tries to leave at the same time. The roads are jammed. Traffic is so heavy, and people end up going nowhere. And so you don't want to be among the people who are going to all try to flee together at the same time. It's not going to help you. You need to make sure that you think ahead about these things. And I do believe that it's wiser to be in rural areas. And if you have a house in the middle of the city, sell that house. Buy an acreage. Buy a house that's a little bit out, anywhere between 45 minutes, minimum 45 minutes, to at least even to an hour and a half. Don't complain about the drive. Just bear with it. Bear with it. It will all come in handy. Just bear with it a little while longer. Just bear with it. It is much more better for you to be outside surrounded by trees, because there's way more fresh air. It's much more peaceful, and also you're able to grow your own garden. You're able to grow like your own crops in a garden. You can do those things if you're outside of the city. But if you're inside the city, you are limited, and you only depend upon the supermarkets and the stores. And when a huge impact comes, everybody's going to go and empty out the stores just like they did in 2020. My friends, this is where we are going. Be wise. Think like an ant. What do ants do? You gotta think like some of the ants. I believe that if we look at the example of ants, we will be able to figure out exactly how we can be able to work together and be able to build something. Ants work together. Ants work as a colony. Ants build together. Ants protect each other. Ants will fight to defend their territory. They work together. That's how people should be. Think about it in terms of the ants, right? But everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody wants to be independent.